I'd like to introduce Master Sergeant Thomas Brengel from ISP, the Illinois State Police. Uh, Thomas began his law enforcement career in 2006, and he serves the Illinois State Police in their division of statewide 911. He has been integral to the legislative changes impacting Illinois' traffic laws, enhancing warning light systems on the state police vehicles, and developing the department's officer worn body camera program. He is also helping peers understand and adopt smart lighting practices. And with that, I want to welcome Master Sergeant Brengel.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Jim, for the compliment. That's quite nice of you. Just to apologize for any background noise. I'm actually on vacation here, so if there's some seagulls or something in the background, I apologize for any audio there. So I'm going to give a quick overview today of smart lighting, and then talk about what we've done here in Illinois and a little bit beyond. Smart lighting came to be with the work through Jim and the Federal Highway TIM team over the last couple years. We started a project back in 2019 at the state police district I worked at the time, had a different funding source. And we had suffered several fatalities in roadside incidents and looked at the warning lights in our vehicles and how we can make improvements on that. Next slide, please. So through some work, we realized that a lot of our lights create visual chaos when we're on scene, similar to what's pictured here. Right, we can all imagine a time when we're either the incident responder ourselves or happen to be off duty passing through an incident scene, especially at night. Multiple vehicles, even a single vehicle on scene, can quickly disorient us, overwhelm what we're trying to see and navigate through. Go ahead to the next slide. So we came up with an acronym called SMART, and a lot of people apply SMART, like Jonathan has covered in his previous presentations on advanced lighting systems, which I'll quickly cover. But SMART is really these five topics. It's a fusion of 5 different operational practices on emergency vehicle and roadside maintenance vehicles to improve our safety as not only the incident responder, but those at the incident scene and the general public as they traverse through our scenes. S being the strategy. Again, these are just an overview of what SMART means. So when you're developing your strategy, kind of like Jonathan had spoken about, looking at assessing within your agency what works for you guys now, what doesn't work so well, and what are you going to look to improve. I know for our agency, we really had to look at funding sources, deciding if we were going to retrofit existing vehicles or only apply advanced lighting systems into newer fleets. That's all stuff that needs to be considered, as well as what applicable laws do you have. Illinois, we're allowed certain color lighting on vehicles for police and fire compared to DOT. Illinois, we actually just allowed green lighting on DOT vehicles and tow vehicles as of January 1st this year. So strategy is kind of the beginning step to implementing smart lighting, but it's an important step, especially when it comes to funding and figuring out how you're going to apply that. If you're looking to do vehicle-to-vehicle sync capabilities, you got to talk with partner agencies that you want to do that with, because a lot of those systems and flash patterns can be proprietary and they can't communicate from different vendors yet. Message, that's probably the most important part of smart lighting, is what are we trying to convey to the motoring public with our lighting, right? Lighting typically alerts, informs, and manages. We do a pretty good job at alerting motorists, but we don't really do a great job with managing and telling motorists what we want to do with our lights. Jonathan had mentioned a really neat thing that they're doing, and I totally support, is that they have a response mode versus a park mode. You're starting to see that in advanced lighting systems where we're changing and toggling and controlling the flash patterns of our lights and being very intentional about what we're doing with those lights, depending on what our vehicles are doing. There's some research studies that are out there that support that type of methodology, where motorists typically will observe flashing lights of a very flash fast flash sequence as requesting right of way or demanding a sense of urgency, where slower flash rates, usually around 1 hertz or about 60 flashes per minute, convey a calmer message, and we want to calm the scene of our scenes through our lighting. Automatic, again, either using a smart lighting system or advanced lighting system where you can tie into the vehicle triggers and sensors, or even through basic lighting and wiring, trying to automate features as much as possible. You've seen that since the 90s with fire apparatus, how when they go on scene, they're not allowed to have wig-wag headlights on anymore. Trying to incorporate that more into our response vehicles. So when we're in response mode, maybe the system can tell we're driving, displays a certain pattern, we get on scene, go into park, a separate pattern is automatically displayed. We don't want to have to confuse the vehicle operator with having to toggle those features themselves. Reduce intensity, that's probably most important as message. We want to, especially at night, reduce the intensity of our lights, whether that's again through the flash sequencing and rate that they flash at, but more importantly, how bright lights are. We know that LEDs are the predominant thing in the market now. Those are very ultra bright lights. The the types of rules that are out there and performance standards really still only apply to incandescent halogen bulbs. We haven't seen a migration with standards really keep up with LEDs. So at night, using things like a photocell to detect ambient light, reduce the output of how bright lights are. And then tier levels, Jonathan talked about that with placing lights across the vehicle, high, middle, and low. Next slide, please. You can skip through this. I've already covered that slide. So just a couple videos here to showcase some of this. Here at the end, I'll talk about implementation real quick here in Illinois. We went through again and had to do some proposals on our new vehicles. We're implementing advanced lighting systems. We chose not to retrofit our existing systems because that just wasn't economically feasible. We incorporated end user training so that the operators of our vehicles kind of understand what the system's doing and what the intent is behind it. Collaboration with other agencies. We're still trying to progress toward that. That's challenging, but trying to get on a similar system with DOT agency here in Illinois so that we can have vehicle-to-vehicle sync, I think is maybe a wish list, but we're not at that point yet. I know other agencies do that, and that's something that you need to consider with your initial approach to lighting. And then supporting research. You can go ahead and advance the next slide. There is research out there. I'll cover that in my conclusion slide on where to locate some of that. So I don't know if this video will show up, but we have kind of an old state police vehicle there on the left and what we're trending to on newer vehicles on the right. I know the videos probably don't play as well as we'd like, but just trying to show the difference in contrast of different lighting sequences here. So go ahead and advance to the next slide, please. This is an interesting thing. There's a study out there. We tried to replicate this. So especially in the Tim world, we talk about lighting and wearing our reflective vest. You'll see an operator of this police vehicle exit wearing a vest. It's still a little challenging to see him standing next to that when you've got lights, especially white light at night flashing. The car is, the lights are kind of just doing their own thing, full brightness intensity. If you can advance to the next slide, you'll see a really good contrast here with using an advanced lighting system. Try one more slide there. So this right at night, we've dimmed the brightness of our lights. We're sequencing our lights so that we have contrasting color pop from red and blue. The operator will get out still wearing a vest, but it's a lot more visible. And that's really what we're trying to demonstrate here with smart lighting. Using advanced lighting systems is improving our safety and visibility at scenes. We know we're still seen with our lights, but we're not overwhelming those that are trying to come through and travel through our scenes. Next slide, please. I know I'm running up on time here, so if you can just go to the conclusion slide, I'd like to highlight one thing in particular. A lot of the smart lighting stuff that I've talked about here, that's a good one. I've been very fortunate through the TIM program to go out and spread the word on this stuff. There's an article that was published back in May in the Police Chief magazine that talks in more detail about the SMART acronym. Um, been able to present at IACP recently on that, and there's a couple of other upcoming presentations. So word's getting out about what smart lighting is. And I think we all know that this is an important topic that needs to be addressed. And it's nice to see that it's finally getting some attention and getting implemented by folks like Jonathan. One more slide, please. I would like to give credit. I don't know if he's dialed in today or not. Dr. John Bullough has a lot of very meaningful research in this area. I think he's presented on these programs before, but his research complements the smart lighting stuff very well and shows the importance of using things like calming patterns, dimming lights, tiered lighting across your vehicle, automation. We talk about that conceptually here in smart lighting, but he has the research that can kind of help support that. So his information is there and my information's on the slide at the bottom if you ever have any questions about more about smart lighting, or I can show some of the other videos to you as well. But that's what I have here today for you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. What I'm going to do now is for Jonathan, I have a couple canned questions here for you, Jonathan, and then I'll give one to the sergeant, to the master sergeant. First, for you, Jonathan, what is your timeline for deployment of the smart lighting for the 28 incident management vehicles and the 188 SSP fleet vehicles?
Well, currently we're working on just trying to get the first part of this going as far as the build side. We are very close to 50% on the IMC fleet for the agency side IMCs, and we have not moved forward or made any decisions to activate anything with the SSP trucks at this current moment. And I just want to put it out there that the VDOT and the TIM contractors, they lack the codified responder designation when it comes to sovereign immunities, and it cannot legally be delegated or assigned. So basically they well it's well, that's about how it works. We haven't really moved forward. We're working on that piece of it. We haven't have not given a solid date yet to even go live with the red secondaries at all at this moment.
Okay, well, we'll stay in touch with you, get more information at a later point as well. I have another quick question for you. What challenges, if any, do you face in retrofitting the vehicles with the technology, the smart lighting technology?
It's a very based on the IMC fleet's a very diverse fleet. There's a whole bunch of different models of vehicles, and it's made it a real challenge
Sure.
to work through a vehicle that has already been upfitted before, having to chase down wiring and try to make sure everything works. And it's a lot easier to start out with a clean, brand new vehicle with nothing in it that's just completely upfitted from start to finish. So
Yeah,
that's been one of the biggest challenges.
yes, sir. Thank you. And it makes perfect sense. Question for you, Thomas. You have been sharing the principles of smart lighting and its value through print, conferences, and one-on-one. What advice might you offer to an agency that's trying to bring smart lighting to its fleet?
It's a good question. I think the biggest impact that I've been able to see is bringing in a vehicle to showcase it, right? So like we can all talk about it, but we had that presentation we did up last year, right up in Chicago area, and we were
Mhm.
able to get some administrators and end users there and showcase different vehicle setups. And the proof is in the pudding when you see it in person, when you can actually experience the different flash patterns, see the difference of a full power versus a low power light at night. Um, See especially workers, right? If we simulated workers next to flashing lights and you could say, hey, this actually makes sense to spend extra money um, on our new vehicles or retrofit existing vehicles to actually experience that in person. So if an agency is looking to do that, if you have an agency in the town next to you that's got a smart a vehicle with an advanced lighting system, having them come demo it to you, whoever's going to be paying the bills and making the decisions there to go with it. That's the first start, because once you see it, everyone, the light, if you will, clicks, and people see that it's worth the investment. And then from there, if you need the extra help with research studies to show why this is actually there, there's actually been science done on it that supports the smart lighting acronym. That just so happened to be that we knew that Bulla was out there doing that type of stuff that supports it. Because sometimes agencies like to see, well, where's the science behind it, or is this true? And his car looks neat. Well, there's actually studies that show that. So that's a great place to start to move forward in the smart lighting realm.
Absolutely. You nailed it. I mean, the buy-in from the decision makers to see it, feel it, touch it, and so on. That is so important. And it may sound like a no-brainer, but you need to, as I said earlier, as an influencer and leaders that I believe everyone on this webinar are or is, we need to share this data, share this information, and of course, you have all of us, Master Sergeant Brengel and Jonathan in my office, and Dr. Bullock. Now you have the resources to try to make a difference with lighting in your state, your jurisdiction, your agency, etc. So thank you again to Jonathan Meeks with VDOT and Master Sergeant Thomas Brengel with Illinois State Police. Quick question for Adam has moved on. So this question is for Paul Yamashita. Can you share how Caltrans uses these drones more routinely for TIM?
So we don't have a set and operating procedure to deploy the drones. We have 3 now within the state. Like I said, they are cellular based automatically, so it can live stream. But we had a number of lithium ion fires that we were told that this would have been very helpful, because in the areas that the fires were at, we do not have any kind of CCTV camera or communication. So now that we know that they work with Starlink, I'm hoping to get a mobile Starlink unit to test it out in remote areas where there is no cellular coverage. We don't use the drones so much for traffic queuing, as Caltrans has what's called Quick Map, which will show us what the queuing looks like. Ours is mainly more for, like you were talking about, Jim, is the TIM side, as to where is the incident, what lanes are blocked, and at that time, where are we as far as in the clearance? How close are we, or things like that. That's how we're deploying it.
Okay, well, thank you for that. Question for Dom. How has training on the use of tethered drone gone? Any tips or lessons learned?
Yeah, the biggest tip is stay away from those Part 107, 108 certifications. If you don't want to, redirect your folks from learning, both their skill set in the Safety Service Patrol as well as trying to maintain their certification. That's why we went with the tethered drone, and that's why we used aviation to really help us out with regard to crafting what those need to be. So once we wrote those checklists down and how to operate it, it became very easy to operate that photokite. The Mavic became very problematic, and people couldn't figure it out. They couldn't figure out how to share. We were trying to use Teams to use it. So that one kind of sat in the closet, not knowing anything. But the photokite is what really shined, is because it required very little training. It was, you press your button, it goes up in the air, you connect with the iPad, and then you're flying and you're good to go. And they can walk away and work on the incident. So with regard to training, when you're not doing the Part 107 or Part 108 certifications, stick with what's easy. That's why the tethered system worked for us, specifically the fully integrated photokite system.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you for sharing that. And last question back to Dwayne real quick. Dwayne, what is the sentiment from state police?
Actually, they like it. You know, at first it was like, you know, they could take it or leave it. But just in the past week, I've talked to a couple of the crew guys and their program manager. They are pleased. They are cutting their time out on the road significantly. I don't have the data that supports that as far as, you know, it's probably going to take at least probably another year. But talking to the crew members, it is successful and they're happy to use it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And the point about the data, however you say it, it's important for this technology and all the technologies under the Everyday Count 7 program that we engaged in, whether it be debris removal systems or advanced warning, UAS, emergency vehicle preemption, the smart emergency vehicle lighting, etc. Please continue to collect and capture the data, because we will revisit these later on in the coming years. So next slide. I'd like to Kyla, next slide. Okay. These 10 resources are available to you all. I won't read them all to you. Just take advantage of them. The recording of this webinar will be available through the NOCO website within the next week or less, I'm pretty sure. And I'd like to thank our presenters, all 6 of our presenters, Captain, I just promoted you, Thomas. Master Sergeant Thomas Brengel from ISP, Jonathan Meeks from VDOT, of course, Dom Ciaramitaro, Paul Yamashita, and Dwayne Day, as well as Adam Perez. All of you, many thanks. And we shall see you next month. Keep doing great things, as I always like to say. God bless, and bye for now.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.